Hello and good evening. Thank you very much for joining me on this hot summer's day. I believe it's very, very hot in England. Anyway, I don't think anyone's here yet, so I say cheers and welcome and hello. Thank you very much for joining me when you do join me. So, anyway, here we are. Here we are, waiting for a few of you to arrive. Not one yet. I've arrived exactly on time at 8 o'clock. So, you know, for once I'm punctual. Well, it's 7 o'clock in England, which is the time I normally do my program. So there we are. So, yes, thank you very, very much. And hello to Hey Tigers or Hey Tiggers or whatever you want to be called. Never got to the bottom of that. Oops, I haven't put in my microphone, have I? So, oops, that's the one thing we've forgotten to do. There's always some kind of technical glitch on this program. That is how we begin. But anyway, we'll start off with a microphone. It can be very easily plugged in. Let me find the microphone. Oops, we did it again. We forgot to put in the microphone, but I'll just keep the microphone like this because it's easier. So there we go. Yes, we've got 4 people allegedly here, but that normally means there's many more, but it just has some kind of number that says 4 and 1. I don't quite know what 4 and 1 means, but good evening to Poppy. Hello to Poppy. Hello to Poppy, and hello to everybody else that is joining us. There's now 8 of you and 1. Okay, right. Well, I believe I'm told to tell you that you must press like. Please press like. That is a nice thing to do. It's very nice to press the like. And whilst we're waiting, yes, 2,435 of you have now signed my petition about saving the sloth from being kept in the mansion of the likes of Tamara Tepid Eccleston in Kensington. Sloths should be in rainforests. 2,435 of you. So we need more of you to sign the petition. Please share widely. The link is in the description box, as they say on the Sean Atwood channel. And the Sean Atwood channel have asked me to go on to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, but unfortunately it had to be delayed because of their own internal issues. But I'll talk about Jeffrey Epstein a little bit tonight. I haven't finished watching the Daily Beast coverage. There was a very interesting program on the Daily Beast. I'll share with you the link to that right now. So anyway, you can watch the videos on the article. It's well worth. I've enjoyed what I've watched so far, and I'll give a few thoughts on what I have what I've seen. So there you go. It's the hottest day on record today here on the Isle of Man, says Will Healy. What is the temperature? I believe in Worcestershire it reached 34.5 degrees C. So I don't know what the temperature is. What is the temperature on the Isle of Man? You surely have a sea breeze on the Isle of Man, but I don't know. What is the temperature on the Isle of Man? Will Healy, please. So here we go. Yes, we've got 13 of you here and 3 likes. I think that means there's a lot more, but it doesn't record it in that way. I think it's some kind of, it only records the people who are sort of members or something. It was 30, and your record was, the old record was 28.9. So it's 30 degrees on the Isle of Man, which is a place where, it's in the middle of the ocean. So, well, the Irish Sea, in fact, not the ocean. But, it shouldn't be too hot there because you've got sea breezes. But no, you've got to 30 degrees in the Isle of Man. And this is what's called global warming. And the people that deny global warming are completely nuts. Global warming does exist. It is temperatures rise and temperatures fall. You think in Victorian times, the Thames River used to freeze over. It doesn't freeze over anymore because it was a cold period. And in Roman times in Britain, they were able to grow vines in England because it was hot. And now, half of Kent is covered in vineyards because it's possible to grow perfectly good English sparkling wine grape. varieties, but they are very expensive, these English sparkling wines. And in Sussex, my friends own a vineyard and they timber, and they're terribly, terribly rich, and they have a big estate in Scotland as well, and a big place in St James's, and they are the biggest vineyard owners in Britain now. They've got more vineyards than anyone else, but French champagne producers are buying up English land. The price of English farmland suitable for growing grapes has gone from £11,000 10 years ago to £20,000 an acre. That's indication that times are changing and the world is a changed place. We have to cope with the fact that we have global warming, and English people are going to have to start putting air conditioning into their homes. It's going to be a fact. When you build a house, not only should you have one of these electric vehicle chargers. I just had a row with a neighbour about this because he decided he wanted to park his bloody Range Rover and block the road. Anyway, he apologised in the end, and I say thank you to him for his apology. He was dignified about it. But, a house will have to be built with not only an electrical vehicle charging point, but it will have to be given air conditioning. We are living in a changed climate, and Britain is no exception to the rule. Worcestershire yesterday, 34.5 degrees Celsius. It's too hot. So we have to adapt the way we live. And there was a very good Radio 4 program about this a couple of days ago. And, house builders are going to have to start putting in air conditioning. Okay, that means the price of your house goes up, but frankly, you're going to need it. So you're going to have to adapt the way you live. It's just going to be, we will live in a changed world. There was a thing on the radio this morning about some children who built some kind of memorial of 2025, and it's going to be opened again by some council in 2125. Well, they didn't mention the fact that the temperature will be a lot higher. So they missed the point, I thought, these children and the stupid teachers, and absolutely a stupid waste of space. And the teachers actually said, "Oh well, when we come to reopen it, we'll make sure we'll be there." It's like, well, you can't be. It's 100 years later. You'll be dead. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, there are some crazy, stupid woke schemes in the world, but that's one of the wokest pieces of rubbish I've ever come across. I wasn't very impressed by this stupid idea. I can't remember which council it was. I should have written it down, but I didn't. But there we go. I was very unimpressed by, yet more waste by public money on a silly scheme to make children go, oh, in 100 years, this is what's going to happen. And one of them said, oh, there's going to be a flying car. Well, 100 years ago, people said there was going to be a flying car. Well, there isn't one. There are flying cars, but they're not everywhere. I did see a flying car a couple of years ago. It was made in the Netherlands, and it's never taken off, has it? It's just not very popular. It's a silly idea. Flying cars. Just buy a helicopter if you want a flying car. Just get a helicopter. Go on an aeroplane. Otherwise, buy a car if you want a car. It's just a silly, silly idea. The combination is not a very good idea. There were people in London who wanted to build railway stations with tube lines above ground, and they wanted to have houses on one level and shops on another level, and build all of this on top of one another. Well, it would have ended in disaster because the train would have no doubt crashed through the roof and gone and killed all the people. It's a terrorist paradise, isn't it? So what a silly idea. There are so many silly ideas in the world. There are lots of people who come up with wonderful ideas and absolutely fabulous inventions. Like Percy Shaw, the man who invented the cat's eye. He was driving along the road and he could see a cat, and it meant that he went the right way around the corner. So he put he made a thing that looked like a cat's eye into a little thing and put it in the road. He sold hundreds of millions of them. Brilliant inventor. What a wonderful man. What a genius. And, the program you must watch, if you can get it on YouTube, is Alan Wicker, Wicker's World. And I love Alan Wicker. I was only lucky enough to meet Alan Wicker once at the Carlton Tower Hotel at a party. And I only spoke to him for 2 seconds, but what a lovely, lovely man Alan Wicker was. Fascinating and fascinated by everything. He was the best, one of the best in the West. You haven't got journalists like him. He lived on Jersey, I think, and he drove lovely Rolls Royce. He had some lovely Bentley S1s and things like that. He was a lovely, lovely man by all accounts, and his programs absolutely great. But Percy Shaw, Percy Shaw used to live in a coal miner's cottage, and he was a very eccentric Yorkshireman, and he bought a big Rolls Royce, and he didn't want the division in the middle, between the chauffeur and the driver, because he drove it himself, and he used to drive his friends to play golf in it, and he was extremely eccentric, but what a brilliant man. And he had 4 televisions, because they'd just got 4 channels on the thing, so he could watch all of them at once. So he sat with 4 televisions. I mean, he was completely mad. I think he had a pub in his house because he wanted his friends to feel like they could come to his house and feel like they were in the pub. He was a very, very eccentric man. I don't think he was ever married, or he was obsessed with golf and Rolls Royces and pubs, basically. I think that was his life. And we've got Cult Television. Yes. Hello to Cult Television, my good old friend who's returned from Canada. Yes. Hello to you. Welcome back. Nice to have you here. So we've got, Cult Television. Do you remember Alan Wicker, Wicker's World? Of course, I think you would, because your father was a television producer, of course. So there we go. Right, what else have we got going on here? We've got a few of you coming in. We'll wait for a few more. We're only 15 minutes into this program, but 12 minutes, in fact. And cheers to you all. I've just finished my gin and tonic, so I'll move on to a glass of rosé wine, because we don't have any white wine tonight. We've run out. We've only got rosé, so that's what we're having. And you can hear someone in the background who has 2 glasses of rosé, so she should be happy for the moment. Oh, yeah. Yes. Anyway, yes. Have we named the 3 birds? Have we named the 3 birds? Not yet. No. Thank you for all your names for the birds. But we had a nasty woman round earlier, a nasty German woman. She's a very vicious, nasty woman. And she said, "Don't feed the birds. It breaks the rules." I totally ignored her. I will not be kowtowing to some silly woman who goes around hitting a bird with a stick as she did. It is a criminal offence in France, just as much as in England, to attack a protected species. And seagulls are actually protected species. So she's the one at fault, not me. So I won't be backing down on this. And, before I depart from here, I will continue to feed these birds, except I'll do it in a place where she can't see, because, she's too much of a busybody, and she's a nasty, nasty woman for hitting the bird with a piece of wood. And I saw her do it, and that's not very nice. She's also doesn't like people swimming in the water. She's a bit bossy, to be honest, and I don't like bossy people. Bossy people, if you start being rude to me and you're bossy, you really think I'm going to cave in? Be scared, be very scared. I'm not a very nice person when provoked. I don't like people who are rude and obnoxious, and I don't like people who abuse animals. And she's an animal abuser. So she can rod off and shove it up a jumper. Don't you agree?
Yes.
Yes, we're getting agreement from the householder here. So there we go. Yes, names in a hat. Yes, okay. As regards German people, there are some very nice German people here, and they're very, very pleasant. But this particular one isn't. And she's got some very strange views about lots of different things, and she's also a nudist. Which, okay, if you want to be a nudist, good for you, but I don't want to see some old woman naked. It's not very nice. It's not very pleasant, and I've witnessed it at the end of the garden. And it's
giving them water
anyway. They get water, and they got a bit of rice, and they got a bit of bread, and they also like sugar cubes. It seems today they're into sugar cubes. That's the latest thing I tried because I didn't want her to see. So anyway, they like all sorts of things. They like anything other than vegetables or fruit. They don't get any vegetables or fruit because they reject it. It just gets washed into the sea. So there we go. You want me to call them Joseph, Herman, and Adolf in her honor? No. That wouldn't be kind to them. They don't like her either because she's nasty to them. So we can't call them Mr. Lee Kicker. Your joke is funny, but we can't call them Joseph, Herman, and Adolf. That's not going to.
Babies.
Anyway, no. Anyway, I'm getting interruption in the background. We don't have interruption until asked for from anyone. So, okay. And what will happen to the birds when I leave? Will they survive? Well, God only knows. I think they'll be grown up enough by then to fend for themselves. So anyway, the Range Rover with the electric charger man is back from his dinner already. He seems to eat at a very funny hour. It's only 8:15. So, he went out for dinner only an hour ago and he's already back. I don't know. Maybe anyway. If he comes demanding I move the car, well, I'll have to interrupt the program. But I don't like interrupting my program for anything. And why should I interrupt it for a man with a stupid Range Rover that's got electrical issues? And my own father has had problems with his car, the same car with. Use stupid charging devices. Range Rovers are a nightmare. My friend Jonathan has had problems with his Range Rover. Range Rovers were wonderful cars before the company was bought by Tata, and now they are, they're second-rate vehicles. They're not worth having because they just break down all the time. My friend Anthony, he had a problem with his one. It had to go back to the old factory for weeks and weeks. The electrical issue, and this man was moaning, my car has electrical issues. Well, yeah, don't buy a Range Rover then. Buy something else. They're very expensive cars. They're £150,000, but seriously, they're ridiculous. I do think it's a great shame that Land Rover has gone downhill in such a way. It's a wonderful, wonderful company, and it's got a wonderful heritage, and it's made some beautiful vehicles. And my first Range Rover, which was one of my first cars, I loved my car so much, and I wish I'd never got rid of it. But I had to because I had a court case, and I had to pay the solicitors and all the rest of it to fight the court case, so the car had to go. But it was a lovely car to own, and I miss my Range Rover. And one day I'll have another Range. And Barbara Minto, my lovely, lovely Barbara Minto, she loved getting in and out of that car because she said it was the right height and it had the right kind of seating. She loved the seats and the air conditioning and everything, and she was very happy going on long journeys, which Barbara Minto normally didn't do. So it was a great car, and it belonged to. I bought it from a man who was one of Elton John's agents or something. It had every conceivable extra possible, and people love. We used to go up and down the motorway every Sunday to Berkshire to Marco Pierre White's pub and have lovely lunches, and it was a great car to drive. Everybody loved that car, but that was the last time Range Rover was actually a decent car, and that was back in 2008. Since then, they've gone downhill no end. It is a great shame that they are building cars that they think look great, but they're actually not practical, and they're actually badly designed, and they're the most easy cars to steal. In central London, it's £25,000 to insure a Range Rover a year because of the fact that they are the easiest car to steal. That's why every one of them you see has a steering lock fitted to it, because people are desperate not to pay this 25,000. It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? So anyway, we've got 63 of you supposedly here. We'll wait for a few more. Don't buy a car from Michael Barrymore, says Pig Pig. Okay, Pig Pig. Hello to Pig Pig. We don't like Michael Barrymore, but we won't talk about him tonight because one of you last night said we don't want to talk about him all the time. Well, I don't want to talk about him all the time. But Lynn says he keeps appearing on my YouTube. There you go. He's on the medicinal cannabis for PTSD and anxiety. Oh, really? He's got anxiety and PTSD. How ridiculous. What about the Lubbock family, whose son and father of two children was murdered and raped at his bungalow? What about them? Michael Barrymore, shove that up your rotten whatever. I'm not going to go with that word because it would be offensive. But I think you know what I mean, given what you did and whatever all these other people did at your party. It's an appalling thing. And you all told lies, and you're just a bunch of freaks. Absolute disgraces, and you should be ashamed of yourself, the lot of you. Okay, right. No, I'm not going back to the UK this weekend. No, not this weekend, but before next weekend, yes. There we are. So that's what's happening, yes. And then once I'm in the UK, I don't know where I'm going. I'm going on a little tour. I'm going all sorts of places, but I will be looking forward to visiting lots of wonderful people who I haven't seen in 6 months. So it's about time I saw some of them again. There we go. Pig Pig says, come to Berkshire. Well, I will come to Berkshire, but yes, I could easily come there. It's an easy place to get to. Yes, with pleasure. If you were inviting me, I'll come and pay you a visit. Yes, why not? Why not? Right. Okay. Next question. Have we any questions on any particular topics before I talk about a particular topic? Mr. Lee Kicker is climbing Pendle Hill again in the morning. Well, look out for the old Pendle witches, the ghosts of them, poor old things that were sadly killed at Lancaster Castle. That was a terrible thing. Come to Dublin. I'd love to come to Dublin. It's about time I visited Dublin to see the lovely architecture there and everything else. And also Alfie's mum. It'd be nice to meet you. It'd be a pleasure to meet any of you. You're all very lovely people. We haven't got any trolls in the building as of yet tonight. Have I ever been to a rave in a field? Have I been to a rave in a field? No, I've been to concerts in Hyde Park. The last night of the proms in Hyde Park. I don't think I've ever been to a rave, no. No, I've never been to a rave. I did once go to an illegal. I went to an illegal art exhibition, and I actually stole a picture with the help of the King of Ghana's son and a very famous photographer. We just decided to throw it out the window. They had no right to be in the house, so it was on the wall, and it was some kind of protest sort of picture, and I think my friend still has it. So I should have a share of that if it's ever sold, shouldn't I? The Ghanaian was actually the getaway driver, and we went to a squat, and we had a look around, and we thought, well, they've got no right to be here, so we threw it out the window, and then they went straight in the car. Anyway, they couldn't accuse us of theft because they weren't meant to be there in the first place, so we got away with that one. There's one for my book. The time I went in a squat in Mayfair. Yeah. But no, I don't think I've been to a rave. No, I don't think I've been to pop concerts. I've been on tour with Coldplay. I went on their tour bus. I've done that. I've been to Snow Patrol in San Francisco. No, I've never been to a rave. No, I don't do acid house. It's not really my thing. So I'm not really a raver. We leave raving to Angela Rayner, of course. Raving Rayner. You know, she likes doing a bit of Ibiza raving, doesn't she? But she raves and rants as well. And she's having a few problems, is old Angela, isn't she? Angela's having a few issues with the unions because they don't want her anymore. They're going to suspend her from the union. And, well, Mrs. Rayner, It's time to wind your neck in, isn't it, as they say? You are a bit of a mouth and you're a bit of a gob, and you are disgusting, Mrs. Rayner. You're an embarrassment to Britain, and you are likely our next prime minister when this Keir Starmer falls, and Keir Starmer could fall sooner rather than later, because he is so unpopular. He's hated beyond belief. He's got a huge majority, but he's hated by everybody. His own party is hating him because he's not a proper socialist, and the non-doms hate him, and the farmers hate him, and the poor old pensioners hate him, and everybody hates him. I don't know how much longer and his little deal with Macron. Yeah, what a great deal that was. One in, one out. It's not one in, one out. It's a load of old rubbish. It's a stupid deal. Anyway, we're not going to have shouting in the background about that. Please don't ruin my program by shouting about that. Thank you. I will not have shouting on my program. Please be quiet. You're not to shout about that, please, because you'll get me banned from the YouTube. Please be quiet. Do not stop. I'm sorry, I have to caution because we don't need any kind of nonsense of that form in the background. Okay, thank you. Yes, it's nice to have her here, of course. Lovely to have her here, but we cannot be talking about racist remarks before we go down that path. So we mustn't go down that path. It is not something for this channel. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes. Certain other people complain about being banned from YouTube. Oh, and there goes a big Mercedes G-Wagon, which is very nice car, much better than the stupid Range Rover. But anyway, we'll have to leave the people with the Range Rover to their own devices. And if they want to charge their car, I said, you can put the cable across the road and just park behind the car that I park, because we can park wherever we wish, because we have permission from the chief of the municipality because of the situation. So it is not correct of this Airbnb guest to behave in this way. So anyway, Airbnb is a blight on humanity. It's dreadful. It's awful. It's useful for you if you're traveling, but it causes misery for the residents. Barbara Minto has banned it from her building, quite rightly, because she's terrified about her safety, because people come and go in the middle of the night. She owns 75% of the building, and some other people own other bits. And they have these people coming and going. And her house was subsequently robbed as a result of this. And she's scared, and she doesn't like it. So she is the majority owner of the building, said, ban it. So they're banned. And they're furious. They're very, very angry with her. But, well, an elderly lady should not have to fear that for her safety in the middle of the night, and her house being robbed of paintings, because she put valuable paintings in the hallway because she owns the majority of the building. And she bought some very nice paintings, and she's got so many paintings, and she's very happy with this. So, honestly, not a nice thing to do. Am I going to read Alex Belfield's prison series of books? No. Alex Belfield is a revolting, horrible, revolting pig of a man, and he has no shame, and he's a disgrace. Him and Katie Hopkins, disgusting people. I'm sure they're going to go on tour again together. Revolting people, unfit for any kind of decent society. Not my kind of people. No thanks. Right, okay. You want to meet Min. Well, you won't be meeting Min because she's staying in France and I'm going back to England. But and I don't think she'll be coming back to England for a long time. But maybe one day you might meet her. Yes, it could be possible. One day when she comes back to England. You only go to Cone to shop, so you came back unscathed. Right, going live. Hello again. I think we may have got you back. Have we got you back in the room? Is there anybody in the room? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Right. We're back again. Okay. I'm sorry we got disconnected. Yes. It seems I had to press a reconnect. Um, uh, it's a very stupid system, this YouTube. I need this thing called StreamYard. I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to use any of these things. I need my technical guy. I need my new computer and all the rest of it. Once I'm back in the UK, we'll have to figure it all out and, start again. Right. Okay. In the background, yes, we have a little bit of noise, but there is plenty of wine still there in another glass, so you should be happy. And yes, we're back with vengeance. You can hear me, so there we go. Yes, you can all hear me. Right. Okay. So where were we up to? We were talking about something in particular, but anyway, I have a few more questions whilst we wait for a few more of you to come back because there's we've lost quite a few people in the intervening period. So yes. Right. Have you any questions on any particular of the day's news? It was great that the British were able to win at Wimbledon. That's a great thing. The men's doubles tennis. Bernie Ecclestone. Yeah, what a revolting little coffin dodging, tax dodging piece of fraud and revolting father of two revolting, horrible brats he is. I don't know. I will not speak badly of his daughter by his first marriage because she keeps quiet and she's actually supposedly a very nice woman, Ivy Ecclestone. But I don't know what her name is now. But Ivy keeps herself quiet, as does the mother, and doesn't seem to have anything to do with Dirty Bernie. There we go. So. Right. Okay. So, are you saying you cannot hear me or not? Right. Enigma says cracking a sound. What does that mean? It's good or bad in your sense? Will I be going back to the UK in a dinghy? No, I'm not planning to go in a dinghy. No, I'm loud and clear. Yes. Okay. Here we are. So anyway, the Daily Beast. Okay, I'll talk about Epstein for a bit if you wish. Yes, Epstein. I've only just started to watch it. I did give you the link. I'll give you the link again. Let's give you the link. Then you can have a look yourself and you can watch yourselves. I will finish watching it, but unfortunately I was taken elsewhere. So unfortunately I didn't get to finish watching the program. But the Michael Wolff has done an interview with the Daily Beast about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. Obviously, Michael Wolff has spent a lot of time with Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump. He dined at his house, the Epstein house, many, many times. He did lots of filming with him. He has so much information he is yet to release. He releases it very, very slowly. And of course, he also spent a lot of time interviewing Donald Trump. So he knows a lot about it. And, Michael Wolff on July the 6th, 2019, the day that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, he rightly points out the story has been released exactly 6 years later that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are not going to be releasing the Epstein files. They claim they don't exist. There aren't any files. Why did they do it exactly on the same day 6 years later? Wolff claims that he got a call from Epstein from Paris from his Maybach Mercedes, calling to arrange breakfast on the 7th of July 2019, a breakfast the next morning. But obviously, he never turned up as he was arrested at the airport, the private airport. So, Steve Bannon possibly called a friend of Epstein. He said, you are the only person I was afraid of in regards to the Trump campaign in 2016. Epstein was a very dangerous person to Trump, and Trump is still scared of Ghislaine. And this is why Ghislaine has not been given a pardon. And, Elon Musk has come out with it. Anthony Scaramucci, they all believe the whole situation with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel stinks. This Pam Bondi, Attorney General, Department of Justice, she's meant to be carrying the water for the United States, is what Michael Wolff said. But she's actually really just Donald Trump's lawyer. She's protecting him. She doesn't do anything. She takes instructions from the West Wing. She is a danger and she should resign. Pam Bondi, you are a disgrace to humanity. How can you sex traffic people to nobody? And you claimed there was a list. And now you claim there's no list. And one of your big election things, Trump, was you were going to release the list. Where is the list? Donald Trump, let's be having you. Do you need a third man? Do you need someone to help you get it out of the system? Or is it because you don't like the fact that your name is all over the flight logs, for example? You claim you didn't go anywhere with him. Well, you did go on his aeroplane. He did come to Mar-a-Lago. You did hang around with Ghislaine Maxwell all the time. You did hang around with Alan Dershowitz, who also hanged around with the same people. Now, I'm not saying that you did anything, Donald, but you are an associate. You are seen in videos hugging him and clapping his back and banging on about Jeffrey is a guy who likes them a bit young, but it's all a bit of fun, basically. That's how you talked. And you had a party with him and only one, just him and yourself and 20 odd women. Now, what was that all about, Donald? Donald Trump, man up, grow up, and admit the fact that you actually were friends with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, two convicted criminal sex trafficking pedophiles, revolting people who stole money. And you were on Robert Maxwell's yacht in New York. And Robert Maxwell stole £500 million from British pensioners, poor pensioners who had to live out their days in poverty because of Robert Maxwell, your mate. You have some very nice mates, don't you, Donald Trump? So shame on you, you revolting, horrible piece of rubbish. You are a disgusting man and a profiteer, just like him. You once said if you owe the bank $1, they close you down. If you owe the bank $1 billion, you own the bank. You don't have any moral compass, Donald Trump. You are disgusting, and you are possibly an appalling president. But, I'm not saying Joe Biden was any better, but you should not be president. You're not fit to be president. You're not fit to run a bus ticket. And I know you're very pissed off that you didn't get invited to Britain before Emmanuel Macron. But, well, you claim King Charles is your great friend. Well, he tolerates you because he has to, doesn't he? Because we can't exactly ruin the relationship. But as for Keir Starmer, he's just an arse licker he's a pathetic little specimen. And the deal he did with you, well, he thinks it's absolutely great. But how do you think his Labour Party members feel about you and that? Anyway, Donald Trump, your time is coming, mate. They are coming for you because many of your own supporters have now turned on you because of what has been done with these Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Epstein files. I see it every day on this Twitter. The anger has now erupted because you promised to name the names. And Elon Musk is rightly starting his own party to counter you. Anthony Scaramucci, one of your closest friends from long ago, is turning on you. They're all going to turn on you, Donald Trump, because you are an idiot. You are the village fool. You really haven't got it, have you? All you needed to do was tell the truth. For once in your sorry life, but you're not very good at that, are you, Donald Trump? No, and I can say whatever I want, and I will say whatever I want. I know some of you here are saying, "How dare you attack Donald Trump?" Well, he chose to be in politics, so it's right that he can be criticized. I think Donald Trump has done some sensible things. I'm not saying Donald Trump isn't entirely, you know, beyond anything other than a moron, but he is somebody who shouldn't be in charge of a bus ticket, given what he's done. And Pam Bondi is a weak link. Pam Bondi, you're a coward. You're a cowardy custard, and you're pathetic, Pam. Pathetic, Pam. You should put a bit of you should shove a bit of spam in your mouth, because that's what you are. That's all you are. You're just a piece of old spam. You're a useless person. You're a village idiot, Pam Bondi. Bond off. You're not James Bond, that's for sure. You're a moron. You're the village fool. I can't. Scientologist Pam, says Michael L. Yeah, she's one of those. Yeah, she's a complete nut job. Lock her up. As Donald Trump says, lock her up. He used to say that of Hillary Clinton. Let's lock Pam up. It's time Pam was locked up. Let's put Pam in the pound. That's where she belongs. Put her in the clink. That's where she belongs. Freak. She's an absolute freak. You think Nicola thinks Grace Elon and him wonderful. Right. Okay. Well, there we go. Anyway, I think the Trumpster is losing his marbles now, says Watch and Report. Yes, well, I think he has lost his marbles. He's too old to be president. We shouldn't be. America should do better, and so should Britain. Why should we have these dreary, drab politicians and these lunatics and freaks and fruitcakes? Let's get some decent men back into. Where is the Margaret Thatcher? Where is the, I don't know, in America, where's the Ronald Reagan? Let's bring back those kind of people. They were decent people. They behaved properly. And then all we got was Hillary Clinton, and Bill Clinton and Hillary, Hillary. Everybody dies when you get near her. And, Keir Starmer, the Farmer Harmer. And, all that rubbish. David Cameron, the drip. The horrible Ian Duncan Smith, leader of the Conservative Party, the horrible Kemi Badenoch. Kemi bad enough, I'd say, of her. She's destroyed the once great Conservative Party even further, sinking into the mud now. I think the Conservative Party is on its death knell. It's absolutely appalling, absolutely shocking, absolutely revolting. So no, I'm very, very upset by all of this, and I have started to watch this program, and I will give my thoughts tomorrow on the rest of it. But anyway, I've given you my thoughts. Do you have any thoughts? Do you have any thoughts on the whole Michael Wolff and Ghislaine being possibly pardoned? But of course, she's not going to be pardoned until he finishes his term. He's not doing any more pardoning for the moment because he doesn't want to. And if he lets her out, she's the mouth of the South. She's a busybody. She's a complete pain in the ass. And, she's already done interviews from prison talking a load of old rot on Jeremy Kyle. She's not going to be very well behaved, is she? So it's better for Donald if Ghislaine rots, let's be honest. Because he has more to lose from her speaking, and keeping her in the clink is a very good idea. So if I were Donald Trump, and you never know with him, he changes his mind with the wind, but and he is a big bag of wind. He's just a big fat old creep, horrible, horrible man. And how was Melania brought to America? Let's ask that. And where did Jeffrey Epstein's little Lolita Express used to fly? interesting questions. Hey, so there you go. Pam Bondi. Yeah, she's up there with Kissinger. Yeah, well, Kissinger used to go on the plane as well. Kissinger was a regular on the Lita Express. Um, Jeffrey Epstein was very good at reeling them in. He probably had every single one of them videotaped. There are videos out there, and Pam Bondi is hiding the videotapes from the public. Pam Bondi, you are a disgrace. Pam, pugnacious Pam, Bond, nobody. You're not a Bond. You're not James Bond, that's for sure. You're a complete idiot. You're a moron. You're the village fool. You're the village twit. I cannot stand Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is one of the worst on the planet, along with Kash Patel. Kash Patel, go to hell. That's where you belong. You're a piece of junk. There we go. You like the sky behind me, says Alfie's mum. Yes, it's a lovely sky. It's a bit cooler tonight, but there we are. And we've got the boat with the big mast back again. Yes, it's been and gone, and it's obviously been taken out for testing because obviously it's for sale or something. So there we are. You'd love to do a night in Belfast. I'd love to come back to Belfast. I loved Belfast when I last visited. I think Belfast is a great place, and obviously the Harland and Wolff shipyard where they built the Titanic and they make Titanic gin. I'd love to go there. Lots of other places in Belfast to visit. So Belfast, great place. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, sorry, I'm sounding like Donald Trump. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. You know, it's repeating the same word. I'm obviously getting into Donald Trump mode. I'm not an impersonator, by the way. So Trump is acting like a young Mr. Grace from You Are Being Served. Are You Being Served? Sorry. Where do you think the missing kids went? The connections? I do think that some of the victims are getting a little carried away. There is one victim who is claiming that Jeffrey Epstein, she witnessed him turn into an alien. He's not an alien. That lady she's a very nice lady, and I have been on a program with her. She's South African, and she is a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, and she was taken to the island, and she tried to escape, but of course there were sharks in the sea, so she couldn't escape, so she had to go back, and she was treated very, very badly by Jeffrey Epstein, Leslie Wexner, and Bill Clinton when they met in South Africa. You know, she is a victim for sure. But when she says that, you know, Jeffrey Epstein turned into a dragon, and no. I don't buy into any of that. I am not a conspiracy theorist, and that is a crazy story. And it's not. She claims that, you know, it's that no one would believe her, but it's what he was, and he had a laboratory. He did have a laboratory. Yes, we do know he had a laboratory, but maybe that they drugged her and she imagined such a thing is more likely. He did want to have himself recreated because he believed he was a genius. So he had all these scientists working for him at his New Mexico ranch. You know, honestly, that place must have been the most sick, horrible place on the planet with all these weird people trying to make baby Jeffrey Epsteins, and God knows how many he actually made. So there may be other, you know, there could be many, many of them. The sprogs of Jeffrey Epstein. Ugh. Horrible. And, you know, his brother got 600 million. That was another thing that came up in the whole thing. You know, he gave him 600 million the day before he killed himself. So what is Mark Epstein up to? And Mark Epstein keeps banging on about how, you know, his brother is, he was murdered. And yeah, maybe I do believe his brother was murdered. But all these people that come out with his brother has been given a new identity and he lives on an island, another island. They got rid of him. But somebody got rid of him. And that's what we need to know. We need to know the truth. And it's time for the truth. And Ghislaine believes he was murdered. Now, Ghislaine is not a reliable witness, but Ghislaine will know, and Ghislaine was, if you remember, her father said, I have a beautiful daughter and she's just like me. I would change the word beautiful to monstrous. That is what I would say about her. A woman who decided, okay, she was a victim of abuse by her sexual abuse by her own father, if you believe the words of Eleanor Berry, daughter of Lord Hartwell, who owned the Daily Telegraph, who witnessed her being allowed to choose which items he abused her with. And she was allegedly in love with Robert Maxwell. But honestly, I will say this. Robert Maxwell used Jeffrey Epstein, and I'm the one who's found out so much of this information, and I have been writing about it for many, many years now. It's now over 6 years I've been doing this story, and it's the biggest story I've ever done. And other than Madeleine McCann, which I've been doing a similar length of time, maybe a bit longer, but honestly, don't believe all the nonsense out there. Believe the sensible things that are put out there. And the sensible truth is Donald Trump is covering up via Pam Bondi the list. We want the list. And we want the list now. And we want it now. So, Donald, man up, grow up, and show up and give the list, because you are discrediting yourself because you promised that list as part of your election campaign. So you've already let yourself down on one of your parts of election campaign. You are a shameful man. Shame on you, Donald Trump. Shame on you. Absolutely shame on you, because you know that you're in danger from anything on that list. I've already sent the Daily Beast thing, but I'll send it again. Here you go. If you want to watch the programs, you can watch the programs yourselves. So have a look. Nicola Mooney says, we want the list. Enigma says, the list, the list, the list. Rev Violet says, yes, we want the list, basically. There we go. Yes. Do I think Miss Maxwell will be pardoned? I don't know. I think highly unlikely until the end of his presidency. I can't see it happening any time before. It probably may never happen because of how much of a danger she is to him. Here we are, the birds, the birds, the birds. The birds agree, and they want the list. The noisy birds are demanding the list. The list, the list, the list. There we go. No pardon for her, says TMTB. Donald never gives her a thought. They would have to buy her a pardon. Well, she's got no money to buy a pardon because her husband ran off with most of her money, she claims, and she's got no money. Really, it's all hidden away. We know that. Nicola Mooney says, Ghislaine never pardoned. There we are. The list and shame them, says Vazzy. Yes, okay. I don't know who Sill's name is. Are you talking about James O'Neill? Remove Sill's name. I don't know. Are you saying Clinton or are you saying something else? I don't know. Anyway. Right. Okay. Well, we're done an hour now, so I think it's time for a quiz. Well, here you are. Before we move on, there you go. You probably can't see it very well. There's my notebook. There's my map of the money of Robert Maxwell, for example. So I do mind maps of such things. So there you go. Anyway, let's move along. And I think it's time we had a quiz. So, right. Okay, now I need to find the piece of paper to write the quiz on. Okay, right. So the quiz. Right, we'll start a new quiz. And yes, right. Okay, are you ready for a quiz? Oh, There goes the light. It's back. Right. Okay. Well, it won't be a quiz in the dark. No. Right. Are we ready for a quiz? Thank you to Rev Violet for £9.99. Kind gift of £9.99 from Good Luck. Thank you. Well, that's very kind. That's a very generous donation. Thank you to all people who send books and mini cheddars, which haven't arrived yet, but don't know if they'll arrive before I leave. But yeah, and the gin and the books, it's kept me going. You know, there's lovely things. So that's very kind of you, Rev Violet. Are you a vicar, Rev Violet, or are you just called Rev? Yes, that's very kind. So thank you to everybody who gives kind support for this channel, and the likes and the donations and subscriptions and whatever else, and watches the bloody adverts or whatever that probably annoy you if they are. And I don't know how it works, or this. I don't understand the whole process, but yes, the Rev Violet. Right. Well, on that note, I'm just going to go and top my glass up and make sure the seagulls are okay, because Madam has gone to sleep. And yes, I will just be back in 1 second. Well, we only have one bird left. We have one bird left. It seems to be thinking it's going to get more food, but we don't want to upset Herman the German, do we? So we better not. But anyway, it's safely outside and behaving itself. So it likes the garden, and it likes the fact that it can sit on the watered grass, because it at least is cooling for it. So there we go. Right, are we ready for the quiz? The quiz. Okay, so we've got some interesting questions for you here on quiz 112 that we've done since I started writing these quizzes. Right, okay. Starring Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter, in which year did action thriller Plane premiere? Action thriller Plane. It's about a pilot forced to ally with the murder suspects when their plane goes down in hostile land. It wasn't 1970. I need a haircut, says Deanne. Yes, I do need a haircut, but unfortunately, the hairdressers here are appalling. So we'll wait till I go back to England. Anne of Cleves gets it correct. Anne of Cleves. Anne of Cleves is correct, because the answer is 2023. Anne of Cleves, 1 point to you. There we go. It was a question about a year, so the answer cannot, Deanne, be Cilla Black. No. And it can't have been 1678 even, Deanne. So that was, and it can't have been 2917. That's in the future. So, which late British Conservative politician once controversially said of Muslim women wearing burqas, if they wish to cover their faces and isolate themselves from the rest of their community, and so thoroughly rejects our culture, then I cannot imagine why they want to be here at all. It wasn't Boris Johnson. It's somebody who died. It wasn't Enoch Powell, though. It wasn't Kemi, but it was Norman Tebbit. So Sarah Havison gets the point. Well done to Sarah Havison. It was Norman Tebbit, who, of course, died this week. So there we are. Okay, next question. In which year did King Richard II get overthrown by Henry Bolingbroke, who became Henry the fourth? It wasn't 1489. It wasn't 1255. It wasn't 1689. It wasn't 1380. But you're close. But you're not close enough. It wasn't 1357. You're further away. It wasn't 1386. No. Anne of Cleves says 1398. It wasn't 1398. It was 1399. But Anne of Cleves, you can have the point because you are 1 year out. So we'll accept the. Okay. In which year did Rocky II premiere? Rocky II. Starring Sylvester Stallone, Carl Weathers, and Burgess Meredith. Michael L. gets the point with 1979. Michael L. Well done to Michael L., who gets 1 point. So we've got Anne of Cleves on 2 points, and Sarah Havison on 1, and Michael on 1. So Michael. Sorry, now we've got a noisy motorbike or something or other. Obviously, it was Rocky Balboa, the drama sequel, the boxing, and all the rest of it. Which chess piece is also called the castle? What is the alternative name of the castle in chess? Mr. Lee Kicker gets the point. Well done, Mr. Lee Kicker. New entrant to this particular quiz. It is the rook. It could also be called many other things. It's the tower, the marquis, the rector, the comes for some reason, Comes, the count, and the earl. So there you go. It's got many other different names. So the castle or the rook has different names. Anyway, there we go. So, in which year was the New Yorker launched? Which year was it launched? The New Yorker. Not 1920, but you're not far off. Not 1921, but you're not far off. But 1924 is close, but not. Mr. Lee Kicker gets a second point with 1925. Came in quickly. So there we go. It was founded by Harold Ross and his wife, Jane Grant, a reporter for the New York Times, and businessman Raoul H. Fleischman, renowned for fact-checking, of course. Dorothy Parker reflected in the world in a picture of modern-day life, of humanity. Yes, the New Yorker has done a great job with the Jeremy Bamber case. Please read the article about Jeremy Bamber, if you haven't already, about White House farm murders, because Heidi Blake wrote a fabulous article on that topic. So there we are. There we go. No, Norman Fowler does not have anything to do with this particular topic. Talks of the hand. So, but Norman Fowler, yes, an interesting man from the conservative history. Okay, in which decade did crooning originate? Crooning. Which decade were the crooners from? a type of singing, obviously. It wasn't the 40s, it wasn't the 50s, it wasn't 1930s. No. It wasn't 40s, it was the 1920s. Enigma gets the point. Enigma is the 1920s. Of course, crooning originated in the 1920s, singing in a smooth, intimate style epitomized by jazz vocalists such as Bing Crosby, Rudy Valley, and Frank Sinatra, though many of those people and many others rejected the term. They didn't like being called a crooner. But there we are. But Enigma gets the point. Who is the author of the autobiography Every Day is Extra? Who wrote the instant bestseller Every Day is Extra? It wasn't Jeffrey Howe. It wasn't Elvis. It wasn't J.R. Hartley. It's an American politician. I'll give you a clue. But Anne of Cleves gets a third point. So now you are now in the lead, Anne of Cleves, with 3 points. So it was John Kerry, of course, published 2018, Vietnam veteran, 5-term US senator. Okay, out of 405 races entered, with 8 drivers' titles and 6 constructors' titles, how many wins did Christian Horner achieve as Red Bull Racing over 20 years before being fired in July 2025? How many wins? Hey Tigers gets it. Hey Tigers, hey Tigers, whatever you want to call yourself. I never get your name, so I don't know. I think you're Hey Tigers, aren't you, really? Hey Tigers, hey Tigers, whatever. It's 124 wins. He had 124 wins. Obviously, he's had his sexting scandal, married to Jerry Halliwell, Spice Girl, carefully crafted persona, they say. He's going to get he's made about 86 million on his way out, so he's not doing too badly. He'll make a good deal and life will not be too bad, but anyway, it'll be better than my haircut, won't it? He's getting a good haircut and he's getting a good payoff. So there we are. Okay, with which sport is Royal Portrush associated? Royal Portrush. Which sport would you play at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland? Audrey gets it. David gets it. David. It's golf. David is the first to say golf, actually. So sorry, Audrey, you were beaten to it, actually, on this occasion. It's in County Antrim. Two Links courses hosted the 153rd Open in 2025, the Irish Open in 2012. In which year did Don't Look Now, starring Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland, premiere? Obviously, an adaptation of the Daphne du Maurier 1971 short story, horror milestone exploring the psychology of grief. Right, now I have to go backwards and have a look to see which one of you got it first. Anne of Cleves is the first to get it. Anne of Cleves, you're either very quick or you're very good at using Google, I reckon. I don't know which one of the two you are, but Anne of Cleves gets it with 1973. So 4 points to Anne of Cleves, who's well in the lead. Right. Okay, next question. In which year was Bentley Motors founded by Walter Owen Bentley? Which year? And there were disputes about the date or in January when it was founded, but right, we haven't got any correct answers yet. Miss Marple gets the point. So Miss Marple, well done to Miss Marple, new entrant to this particular quiz. It was 1919. The Daily Mail claimed it was the 10th of July, and Wikipedia claims it was the 18th of January. So we don't quite know, do we? I don't know. I'm not sure of the actual thing. It doesn't say. Obviously, it was founded by Walter Owen Bentley, and he lived from 1888 to 1971. He sold the company to Rolls-Royce in 1931. He began his career with locomotives, raced on the Isle of Man TT. His motto was to build a good car, a fast car, the best in class. There you go. That was Walter Owen Bentley, an amazing man who founded Bentley Motors. So there you go. Approximately how many species of cormorant are there? How many cormorants are there in how many species? They're also known as shags, by the way. How many species of cormorants are there? There are not 6, there are not 45, there are not 490, there are not 1. No, there are not 24, there are not 12, there are not 32. We've not got anyone who's got vaguely right yet. There are not 2025 species of cormorants. Jane Hennessy is getting closer with 30, but Big Shelley is close with 38. I may have to take Big Shelley. Right, Big Shelley, big Shelley can have it. Big Shelley. I'll just call you Big Shelley. I can't be writing down all these long names. You say 38, I say 40. They're also known as shags, as I said. They're aquatic birds, fish eaters, can dive as deep as 150 feet. They're pests. They're Latin for the sea raven, Corvus marinus. They regurgitate their food to feed their young, as do seagulls. So there you go. That's what these birds do. And there's nothing wrong with feeding birds. As I've said already on my program, the horrible neighbor has no right to go around hitting birds with a wooden stick, because if you hit birds with a wooden stick that are a protected species, you are committing a criminal offense. So she's the one who should be reported to the authorities, not me. There we go. Anyway, I'm not going to start a war with her because I can't be bothered. We don't need a third world war with the Germans, do we? There are nice Germans in the world, and there are nice English people. So we like everybody other than people who go around hitting innocent birds. I don't know if anyone in the background is listening, but I think she's still asleep. Right. Right. Which actor with a bushy beard, born in 1936 and noted for his booming voice, with a Christian name of Brian, appeared in Z Cars, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats, and Disney's Tarzan? What was his name? David is Mr. Lee Kicker is the first to get it. Mr. Lee Kicker, 1 point to Mr. Lee Kicker, taking Mr. Lee Kicker into second place with 3 points. Of course, the answer is Brian Blessed. Exuberant personality, West Yorkshire born, black belt in judo. He had a nervous breakdown aged 18. Did old Brian? Brian Blessed. There you go. Great successes, old Brian. Still going. In whose story did a small boy... Here we are. You've got the birds. You've got the birds. The noise of the birds. There you go. I'm very sorry. They do like to make a racket at this time of night. This is the worst time of night for them. And... Okay, the question is, in whose story did a small boy cry out, "Look at the king. He's not wearing anything at all"? Who said that? In which story? Who wrote the story? No, in whose story?
Oh,
You are right, this story is called The Emperor's New Clothes. But who wrote The Emperor's New Clothes? Who wrote it? James O'Neill gets it with Hans Christian Andersen. Yes, James O'Neill. So we'll give you the point. New person. Right. Okay. Of course, the emperor's new clothes. The boy was the holy fool. He was the whistleblower. He's called what's called a holy fool. Which late member of the British royal family was often referred to as PM? Which member of the royal family, who's since died, was called PM? Mr. Lee Kicker gets a point, which takes you into joint first with Anne of Cleves. It was, of course, Princess Margaret, sister of the Queen, Elizabeth. Obviously linked with a lot of controversy, all sorts of things that went on Mustique and many different things. So there you go. There we go. Which Spice Girl titled, so we're coming back to Christian Horner, titled her 1999 autobiography, in which she wrote that she was someone who refused to accept the cards they are dealt with in life, can't be changed, let's redeal, if only, was the title of the book. Who was the person? It wasn't Ginger, no, but it was Ginger, but her name is something else. So the first person to get the name was Chili Kareen. So Chili Kareen, you can have 1 point. Chili Kareen. It was Jerry Halliwell, or Jerry Horner Halliwell, as she now prefers to go by. Now she's married to this controversial sexting man. Great friend of Bernie Eccleston, but Bernie stabbed him in the back, as he does with everybody. Cheers, Dirty Bernie. Hope you're watching. I don't think you. So, yes, she was a Britpop queen, married to Christian Horner. She's written lots of books. She's an Oxfordshire lady of the manor. She was born in a council house in North Watford, 1990s wild child who grew up and, now writes children's books and all the rest of it. So anyway, I've no problem with Jerry Halliwell personally or Christian Horner, but, if you're friends with Bernie Eccleston, you've got something wrong with you. That's definitely a claim to definitely get off the bus. So there we are. Anyway, how many £100 million was the zero alcohol beverage market worth in 2024? The zero alcohol beverage market. 100 million. It's not 50 million. It's not 5 million. 5 is not 100. Ion Anescu is kind of close. Okay, I'll give the point to you. You say 390. Ion, the answer is 380 million pounds. Alcohol-free spirits, beers. Supposedly the taste is improving. I'd rather have a glass of wine, let's be honest. And excuse me not having picnic style, but we've got all the glasses in the dishwasher as a result of various escapades that have gone on. So there we go. Okay, the penultimate question is responding to Superman saying, as he catches her midair, "Easy, miss, I've got you," with "You've got me, who's got you?" Who played Lois Lane alongside Christopher Reeve? She died in 2018, age 69, and she was the highest paid Canadian on the screen at 1 point. Mr. Lee Kicker gets a 5th point, taking Mr. Lee Kicker into the lead. Margot Kidder. Yes, she had a very unfortunate life, and she went a bit mad and had some very terrible episodes because one of you said that nutty woman. That's not very nice, but she did have a very unfortunate demise. So anyway, Mr. Lee Kicker is amazing, as of Anne of Cleves and all the rest of you. But you're the quickest of the scorecard, and now it's really a final question, and let's see if Anne of Cleves or Mr. Lee Kicker is going to top the scoreboards because that's what we're up to. So, in which year was the shortlisted plant of the year perfect for pots Clematis elpis launched at Royal Horticultural Show, Chelsea Flower Show? Which year was it launched? Clematis elpis. Right. Now let's see who can answer the question correctly. And it's not, we've had no correct answer yet. No one has answered correctly. And I'm not going to give you any clues because it's really down to, let's see, what does Mr. Lee Kicker have to say? Does he have an opinion? Mr. Lee Kicker or Anne of Cleavers? Do you have an opinion? Anne of Cleavers now gets it. So unfortunately now we're into an all-score draw. So unfortunately I'm now going to have to go back to a previous quiz. And I have to find a question, and the only two people who can answer are Anne of Cleavers and Mr. Lee Kicker. Can one of you answer this question? It's the first of you to get it correct. It's an all-score draw. You both got 5 points. So both of you got 5 points, which is very, very good. In my quizzes, we normally get people getting a maximum of 3 or 4, but you've both got 5 points. So which one of you is going to get the 6th point? I'm going to find an old quiz, and I'm going to find a random question, and I'm going to ask what do Americans refer to baking trays as? What do an American person call a baking tray? What does an American call a baking tray? And I need Mr. Lee Kicker. No, it's not sheet. You're partly there, but you're not correct. No. No, we don't need. It's not a baking sheet. No. A baking tray is what the English call it. What do the Americans call it? No. Have we any answer from Anne of Cleavers? Anne of Cleavers. It's not a tray bake. No. Right, you both failed on that question, so we're going to give you another question. And if you don't get this, you'll both be joint winners. I think that's probably the best way of resolving this. Let's go back to another page. Okay. Gosh, I don't know. I'm going to choose a random page. Right, something simple. No, don't like that. Right. Okay, if you went for a ball and chalk in Cockney rhyming slang, what would you be doing? What would you be doing, Mr. Lee Kicker and Anne of Cleavers? If you went for Anne of Cleavers is the winner because you got it with a walk. A ball and chalk is a walk. So Anne of Cleavers has got 6 points. That's an astounding success in our quiz. Absolutely amazingly done. You've done an amazing thing, Anne of Cleavers, because you've got 6 points. So that's a very good thing. 6 out of 20 questions. You are, well, 21 questions, 22 questions, given we gave 2 other questions. So we'll say 6 out of 22. 6 out of 22. There we go. Anne of Cleavers, you are winner, chicken dinner. So well done to you. Right. Before we go, have you any more questions? Any more questions or any more topics? I'm going to write down Anne of Cleavers, legendary winner, Anne of Cleavers. 6 out of 22. There you go. You're on the book. You've made it to the book. You're now a famous face. So, right. Okay. Lee did very well too. Lee got 5 and thank you also to Sarah Havison, who got 1, Michael, and also Enigma, Hey Tiggers. David, Miss Marple, Big Shelley, or whatever you're called, James O'Neill, Chili Karen, and Ion, whatever you're called, because I don't write all these long names down. I can't do that quickly. So well done to you all. It's now 9:30 at night, and thank you very much for participating. You think the plane crash in India looks very dodgy. Totally agree. Absolutely appalling. Something not quite right about what went on there, but there we go. We're not saying goodbye yet. We're saying, have you any more questions? Let's have a question. Any questions? Any questions on required? Any topics you'd like to talk about? Let's have a couple more topics for a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to bed because I'm tired. The pain in my ribs is still very bad. It's very bad. So, yeah, I sound like Donald Trump. Yeah, I need a haircut. Yes, I agree. There's nowhere to get a haircut in this locality. It's just awful. I don't know where you get a haircut. You're reminiscing with Live Aid on television. Yes, well, it's 40 years ago to the day till Live Aid. What's my opinion on Roe v. Wade? Well, we'll see what happens. I don't really have a strong opinion on that, so I'm not an expert on that topic. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what goes on. Right. You're making a peach crumble. Oh, that's very nice if you like peach crumble. Right. You're not used to the heat. You're all complaining about the heat. Oh dear. Mr. Lee Kicker is going to bed early to climb the hill. I love you all. Many hugs and kisses on the lips from me, says Mr. Lee Kicker. Well, Mr. Lee Kicker, you did very well in our quiz, but you came second. But you did very, very well, and you often do very well in our quizzes. So, you can't win every time, can you? And Anna Cleavers has done very well with 6 points. So well done to her. John Clifford says, I went past Speaker's Corner. The violence is absolutely shocking. Have we lost democracy? I think Sadiq Khan London is London out of control. It's a total disgrace. It's revolting, and that man should be chucked out of office with the rubbish. Throw him in the Thames. He's a piece of junk. Absolutely appalling. Enigma says London has fallen. London has definitely fallen to a temporary glitch. Of course, London will recover, and like San Francisco will recover, and everywhere will recover. But for the moment, it's not in a very good place. Let's be honest. That's where we should really say we are. We don't say London has fallen, really, because it hasn't fallen. It's just having a temporary blip, but it will be fixed. Sadiq Khan should be arrested for crimes against humanity, says David. I agree with David. Sadiq Khan should be arrested. Awful man, absolutely appalling. Hey Diddle Diddle has got lots of blackberries and has picked a pot full. And well, I love blackberries, lovely things. The birds don't love the blackberries, but there we are. So anyway, we will probably say, what do I think about Greg Wallace blaming his behavior on autism? Greg Wallace is a stupid man who really needs to man up and grow up and take responsibility for his actions. I don't think Greg Wallace should be seen back again on the screens, and I don't think Greg Wallace is a very interesting man. As I've said before, my friend did have a hotel where he gave Greg Wallace the space for a restaurant, and well, I don't think it worked out well. So he's not an easy man to deal with. Not my kind of person. And you've got Phil Collins live on Live Aid now. All right, okay. You like the birds singing? It's such a beautiful sound. He was dreadful on the Strictly, says Anne of Cleavers. You'd love a bacon sandwich or bat with tomato sauce. I would love a bacon sandwich. I did have a bit of cheese on toast with a bit of ham earlier, but it doesn't really replace having a bacon sandwich. So maybe tomorrow morning I'll find a way to make a bacon sandwich before we go for our roast chicken lunch, which will be very nice. Have I tried broken up digestives with cold custard? No, that sounds revolting. Not my kind of thing. But anyway, it sounds awful. But if you like that, that's each to their own. We can't all like the same thing. Noel Gallagher famously called Phil Collins the Antichrist, says David. Well, Phil Collins, there's nothing wrong with Phil Collins. There's nothing wrong with Noel Gallagher, but Noel Gallagher does get a bit carried away with himself, doesn't he? Watch and Report says it's delicious. Lynn's has got a rhubarb crumble in the fridge. Oh, you're all very busy with your crumbles. You're all crumbling, are you? You're waiting for some lemon pepper chicken tenders with blue cheese sauce and Cajun fries. Well, I don't think I'd like the Cajun fries, but I think the lemon pepper chicken tenders with blue cheese sauce sounds very nice. I could munch away on a bit of that myself right now, but unfortunately, it's time for bed for me. So it's time for me to go to sleep, and I've got to get somebody up the stairs. So we've got to make our way, because it's getting dark here, and it's time to say thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very, very, very much. I can't remember who said that. And, have a lovely evening, good night, and good gardening, and take care to you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we thank you, and we will see you again tomorrow. Okay. Steak wrap on the way. Well, I wish I had one of those, but unfortunately I don't. So anyway, good night and happy gardening and pip pip. Take care. Bye-bye.